Straight from that. Straight from the
And now for
warm-up.
something completely different.
Oh, well, that was fucking absolute hack bit. This is
I
going to
know,
ruin the
I know
show
exactly.
from the
We get-
outset. This is not going to go well now. We've brought up someone else's catchphrase.
Exactly.
Is
Because
that
we
going
need,
to be
that's what it's a very serious topic this week, Jimmy. It's very, very serious, some of this, and I think we need to acknowledge that we've gone into it with very little research. We're not
next to
equipped
none?
to give our opinions on some of the matters we're going to discuss.
I would like to say from the outset that we are in no way equipped to give opinions,
yeah, I
other
agree.
than the fact that we have a brain, and brains automatically, based on their influences, based on their interpretation of media and text and the senses, will no doubt form an opinion subconsciously, somewhat. In no way should that be taken as something that matters, because it doesn't.
And also, just as you can see we're worried, innit? We've been speaking so freely there for the exclusive Patreon episode that you should go and listen to if you're listening to this and enjoy the show.
Yeah, if you want to get
and now
30
we're thinking
minutes,
to
if you want to
ourselves,
get
how can we be very careful?
if you want to get 30 minutes of the pre-show, this show stretching out, the ideas that you might not hear on this. I mean, you're not going to hear it, especially on this one. But then the Patreon. There's a Patreon, and you can do that. And there's stuff. There's actually one thing on there now, soon to be two. By the time this goes up, I'm guessing they go up at the same time. You're in charge of this bit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely fantastic. Now, let's get into this divisive
I would
topic.
like to
So,
say
Biscoff
first,
biscuits.
I would like to say first, right? The people that might be upset by some of these topics aren't the same people who are upset about you talking about these topics. The people that are upset about you talking about things like this and possibly making jokes at some of these things are the people that you should be looking at and being angry at, not the people talking about these things. That's how I think about it, because I think that the people that make sure people don't make comments and things about the topics we're going to discuss, like body autonomy, they're the ones who are controlling the conversation.
Yeah,
They're
I
the one.
agree with that.
They're definitely trying to be like, you know what? South Park probably shouldn't have done the whole mountain lions giving an abortion scene because we don't want people knowing about abortion or making jokes about it or thinking about it. We want to keep it as a taboo topic. That seems to be what's wrong. But that's with the formalities out of the way.
Dead babies.
Yeah.
Here comes an hour of dead baby jokes.
And genital mutilation jokes as well.
Yeah.
How disappointed, right, do you reckon sadists were when they found out GMTV was being cancelled in 2010?
Why?
Because I would have thought that a lot of people might have thought to themselves, genital mutilation television. Which sounds like a hell of a name for a programme. Because it rolls off the tongue, weirdly enough.
Yeah, that channel would definitely mean a lot in some parts of like Africa and like Asia.
Constantly on. Yeah. New material, never repeats.
No, not like Dave.
And on GMT,
it wouldn't have a male name. I don't think it would have a male name. It wouldn't be Dave.
Different parts would have. I think. They don't just do it. It's not just FGM, is it? There's also... Why is it... That's another weird thing as well. Genital mutilation and FGM. Female genital mutilation. Very strange that we're not like... MGM. Well, MGM was already taken by Disney.
Yeah, it was. You can't take that. That means a very different
copyrighted
thing.
That. They're trying to get rid of the original copyright for Mickey Mouse and all.
One's the big screen and one's the big snip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because let's be honest, circumcision is male genital mutilation.
That's what I mean, yeah.
It's fucking... That's not... Again, usually done under very different circumstances. Circumcision apparently is all right because you bring your entire family there, and a man in a cloak does it. A man in a mystical cloak will say something in usually Hebrew, and then...
Or in gibberish, if he's a nutter that your mum and dad found at the bus station when they were pissed.
If he's just snatched the baby out of the ward and he's just running down the street with a pair of scissors. Yeah, that's how you identify babies. Their fingertips.
That's how he does.
Their fingerprints
on his wall at home.
Their fingerprints
he's just got loads of pictures of babies' bell ends.
No, their fingerprints haven't.
I'd know that one. I know that one anywhere.
Their fingerprints haven't formed yet. That's how you identify babies. Is they each have an individual foreskin that leaves an imprint unique to itself, whereas its fingerprints haven't formed yet. But no, apparently that's fine because that's done in a pretty building. It's really fucking weird, but for in every way, female genital mutilation just sounds and appears to be a hell of a lot. Not only circumcision can be in sometimes necessary. You don't need it when you're a child.
I've had a mate who's had it.
Yeah,
it improved his life tenfold. It really did. He wasn't comfortable. He couldn't really use his dick. And then they were like, well, we could snip the end of it off and it'll make it look plumper, bigger, and you'll be able to do things with it you want to do with it. He was buzzing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever going to be a woman who's going to be like, you know what, I'm not happy with how this is.
Sick of this clip.
Yeah, I'm sick of sexual stimulation. It really annoys me, the fact that I can enjoy myself with 5% of the men I sleep with, and I just want it gone.
Yeah.
I want to feel nothing with it.
In no way, it's never going to happen. And I sort I don't understand. I mean, I'm not meant to. Luckily, I come from a. Luckily,
I'm fully behind it.
I really get it. What I really get is why you'd want to do that. Luckily, I come from Bishop, where people can be dicks to each other. There's fighting, but there's not much fanny chopping. I don't. It's a really weird one.
Even we're probably gonna sound like we know nothing about it, but if you sew up a fanny hole, right? Do they not, when they get to a teenager, do they not just go septic when they start to have periods and there's not really anywhere for the clumpier bits to go?
I can imagine all of those problems occur when anything like this happens. Yeah. Those women are probably not only fucked when it comes to procreation, all sorts of development. It's probably going to fuck, in some cases, depending on how severe the mutilation is. It's got to affect hormones and shit as well. The psychological damage, irreparable. It's in every way. It's going to break someone more so than losing a limb as such, because it's even more personal.
I was going to say, it's a lot more personal, isn't it? That's a big part of your life, I would have thought. Getting your end away and masturbating and that.
Moving on to a lighter topic, we're going to move on to not the fanny itself, but what comes out of it. America's fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah, they do.
Moving on to lighter topics, the white Taliban, aka conservative America, is fucked.
Vanilla ISIS, as they can be known. Some people refer to them as that. That's not mine. I'm not claiming that.
It's now the episode title, though. It's definitely the episode title.
We'd be copying someone else's work there.
Mate, you started with someone else's catchphrase.
Are we going to do that the whole way?
We've been doing it.
Celebrities' opinions on abortion.
We've been doing it for almost 50 episodes already. But that's very accurate. And so I don't get this on many fronts. I get it on I don't believe, right, that all these ultra conservatives are as religious as they claim to be. No. That's a facade.
They want to be seen to be that.
Yeah. In no way, shape, or form are they that religious. I believe that it's like fucking. It's cult leading. It's cult leading like everything else. They have to impose a doctrine on the masses to have the control that you can gain from putting that putting that fucking doctrine on the masses. They know that if they get people to abide by the Bible and they're seen to be fucking carrying out God's will or God's word, and seeming as if that's why they're doing it, the control over the people is going to be greater and going to be easier.
In the same way that some cults will make people do self-harm, like whipping themselves on the back with HDMI cords and that. Because if they can make them do that, what else can they make them do? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, a little bit of that, yeah. But in the way that not even that far. That's the next step. That's like, even that most cults are built on obviously religious foundation, and like the first part of that cult is you have to believe in this wholeheartedly. You have to profess, like you have to fucking like
You have to trust
live
me.
this with every part. You have to trust. No. You have to trust the scripture. I'm just the means of conveying that scripture from the divine of whatever it is to you.
Ignore the half pack of biros on the side.
Because the whole point
And
in this is to make it seem like you're not actually the one in control. Obviously, it's you, the head of the cult, or you and your mates, obviously in the government sense, you're the ones in control. But if the public knew that, or the public believed that that's what you were thinking, then they wouldn't buy into it as much because you're just a person. You've got to make the public believe that you're not doing you get no part of this. I don't benefit from this. I'm not getting anything good from this. I've got to abide by these rules too. But for some reason, I was the person that could communicate this from whatever higher being to the masses. I'm just a vessel. Don't consider me important, because you need the public to think that you don't think of yourself as important, because then they don't think of you as the controller. They think of you as just a messenger.
They're not going to think of you as this beneficent,
Yeah,
benevolent.
Benevolent, that's the one. Benevolent, omniscient, omnipotent, whatever.
Yeah.
But you can see like politicians do this, and their need for doing this, especially fucking. I mean, we're just as bad over here, but in America, and the way they do it, and the way they rely on religion to do so, is because if you looked in the background of the fucking politicians, every single one of them, and I mean on both sides, I'm not defending anyone here. By no means, just because I'm at this point bashing Republicans doesn't mean that Democrats I'm all fans of. I don't like anyone in American politics. The whole thing needs to be burnt down from the top down. Same as us though. But they all have dodgy pasts. All of the time shit comes out.
Secretaries.
Yeah. Or they've been caught, like, people who have voted against LGBTQ legislation have then, oh, right, look at them being involved in swingers parties, which is fine. Fine. By all means, go and book as many people as you want in a room with harnesses with a dog mask on. Just don't invite me. Not because of the pie, but it's probably not great crack if Republican politicians are there. But
not even that. Imagine what the people look like. If most of the politicians I can think of that are big names in America are usually over the age of 60.
This is another problem with politics. Like, no one who's voting for anything is of an age that will feel the implication of that.
Mm.
That's something that should not be. It should not be allowed. Those who aren't going to be set to feel the consequences, or aren't going to be around to feel the repercussions of that, should not be involved in the fucking in the voting of it. It doesn't.
But what if it's to help with a plan that they've made? What if they're bringing in these rules because they've set in, like how Stalin had his 5-year plans and that, and we will touch on Stalin a little bit later.
Lovely.
But yeah, I've got a little bit for that, a little bit of information there. But we'll get to that in a little while. What if it's to do with a plan that they've set out for their time, for their country?
Then that's passed on to an underling, and it's trained, and they're made to understand that. And
but they might need this rule in place now, so that their plan can come into fruition a little bit later down the line. Have you looked into the statistics for abortion and that around America?
No, this is how little preparation I've done in this. Essentially,
I've actually done some.
Fucking.
Right?
I had a feeling you would, which is why I sat back.
Lovely. Well, I was going to sit back because this seemed like a very political and real world kind of thing, which I thought you would thrive with.
Well, I've got some ideas.
Because there's very little esoteric stuff and aliens in here, but I am going to get them in there.
This is what I was hoping, mate. What I was hoping was two white, very much nothing to do with American politics or American women's rights or any sort of body autonomy issues whatsoever, men. Our opinions would be greatly valued. And if anything, if anyone could bring humour to such a dire situation as women having no control over their own bodies, it would be two idiots.
Because that's what they need in a time like this, is a laugh.
Yeah.
Something to. Well, I'm not gonna make a joke here, Jimmy. I'm gonna tell you there. There's I looked into abortion and the link between military sign-ups throughout America to get a bit conspiratorial.
Right.
I thought that was because maybe that's why they need all of these children. I've got another
This is
idea why they
feeding on
might
my
need all the
ideas.
children.
This is
Well,
feeding into my ideas as well.
the biggest military sign-ups, right? California, then Texas, then Virginia, then North Carolina, then Florida. They're the 5 biggest, right?
But they're also, if you look at them, they're like the biggest, besides New York. I'm guessing they're the biggest
New York's
populations
not
as
in
well.
the list. North
Yeah,
Carolina,
but as
California
I said,
Oh, okay. Oh,
besides
what's
New
in
York, those are probably the biggest like states and populations in
density.
America anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes a bit of sense, and that kind of may ruin my
No, it
theory.
doesn't. Carry on.
Well, California, right? Abortion's fully legal. That's what it describes it as. I don't know at what point you can get rid of a child. I know in England, if you find out your child's got some form of like a I don't know what the correct words are. Say like
a life-threatening disease or or like something that's like
something that's going to
debilitating
affect
disease
on the life. I don't know if debilitating is a nice word for it, but yeah,
It's
something
not a
that's
nice
going to
word for
affect
it.
on the life. Like the lady last year, I think it was, who was trying to make it so that you couldn't abort a Down syndrome child the day before you give birth to it, because
Yeah.
apparently that's legal in the UK, which is mad. It's going to be a weird thing to do to a person, like to think, oh, I've looked after this baby and myself, I've not drank or smoked, but I've known that I know that he's going to be Down syndrome.
Maybe you have drunk and
today I've
smoked.
changed
That's
my
why
mind.
the baby's coming
Maybe.
out down.
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, right? Texas though, you can only abort up to 6 weeks,
Yeah,
which is not a long time.
not a
really.
long time at all. Especially when like you might not find out until you've missed until I've missed the
Exactly.
first period 5 weeks in.
Exactly, and that's why I think it's fully legal in California, because that's the red herring. That's the red herring for military sign-ups in that, and the fucking abortion. That's the red herring. 6 weeks. Texas is the second biggest military sign-ups, right? And 6 weeks. They want to keep pumping out army personnel and that there.
Army personnel.
Troops.
It's also a heavily religious area. It's heavily religious state. Religion feeds into a lot of this. I also think that virgin on white well, not virgin.
No,
it's like
virgins
sort of white.
virgins won't be getting an abortion, Jimmy.
Well, yes. What about immaculate conceptions, mate? Do you not
They're
believe in the baby
they're
Jesus?
not allowed, especially in the religious areas. They're not allowed to. That kind of, but though, in a way, what if one of the reasons they don't want people to get abortions is because of all the because of the experiments that they've supposedly been doing, where they make people believe aliens are kidnapping them, but really it's the government officials kidnapping them, implanting weird gene manipulation things into the children to make them evolve. But they want to be like, well, if we've used all this money, we can't have you just going and getting an abortion because you've changed your mind and getting rid of the hybridized child inside your womb. We've got to see it through to the end to see if it comes out with gills.
Yeah, 100%. Or like I said the other day, or it became aquatic, but with legs.
Yeah,
In the case of what's more deadly, a tiger with gills or a shark with legs. And you came to the conclusion that a shark with legs, and I think you're probably right.
Because it can kick. It's not only is it streamlined. I mean, the legs might ruin the streamliners, but if it's still evolved about the same time as a shark, then it's going to be streamlined. Plus, it can kick and get a bit more speed.
And I imagine a tiger maybe doesn't swim that fast, even with gills, where it can breathe
Well, the
in the
fur
water.
would weigh it down, innit?
Yeah, it wasn't in hindsight.
Like
wasn't
dragging a rug through the sea.
Yeah, it wasn't the best. Wasn't the best hypothetical. But back to abortion. I think that it's like a lot of it's a theories of that it's pure white conspiracy shit, and it's people wanting to fight for a white America again and believing that they don't want. They basically want people churning out babies, and they want white people churning out babies because white birth rates are down.
Do you reckon? Is that why?
I think.
In
Well,
your head?
I don't. Is it in my head? No, but then you've got to remember that I think
No, I'm not
so
saying
many
that you
things all the
think-
time.
I'm not saying that you think we need more white babies. I'm not saying that's
No,
your
no.
opinion there.
I know
I
that.
mean, is that why you think that they're...
I think it.
They're
No.
adamant for
Yeah, and this is what I mean when I'm explaining myself. I don't think. I think it's a possibility.
Okay.
That's not my opinion. It's It's a possibility because it's something that you see banging on. Like you might have seen this on some of your little research when you've gone on right wing YouTube, when you've gone on conspiracy YouTube.
Atlantean.com.
No, I've forgotten the
not
fucking
that
name.
one. BitChute.
Yeah, BitChute, that's the one.
I've not been on there for a while because you were bullying me over it. So
I wasn't bullying you. No, it's got...
You were saying things like, you shouldn't be watching that because you're easily led. No, you shouldn't be angry at those people because they wear those. And you're saying all that at me, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to stand for this.
The thing is, like, there's nothing wrong with platforms. Platforms can be used, like, if you can just take, as long as you understand the context. BitChute was set up reactionary as a fucking jab at YouTube, being like, right, you're kicking us all off here where we can't talk, so we're all going to go and talk over here. The thing is all the people who are going to go and talk over here, like, it's not fucking makeup artist influencers and that who have been kicked off YouTube, is it? It's all blokes who
just doing little, instead of doing eyebrows, just doing little black moustaches under their noses.
Yeah.
Like, there we go, I've used the Maybelline 3.0.
Yeah, oh, it was brilliant. It really got the detail in there. You can see the individual hairs. No, it's all daft cunts who have been talking about, we don't like brown people, or, oh, listen to this, they were talking in a foreign language in the shop, like, oh, they're making frogs gay. It was those sorts of people.
Well, the ones that would get me, right, it'd be like 45 minutes of pure information about aliens and that. And then in the last 10 minutes, you'd get this weird music starting. And it'd be like, what's this? And I'd fall for it a lot. And you listen to a couple minutes of it and you're like, oh, that was just to lure me into this bit. And it's just pure fucking racist or like a Hitler speech.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's all...
man.
Oh, and by the way, it was the Jews. The Jews are the aliens. They brought the aliens down.
Yeah, but if you ignore that, if you don't take that in and you listen to the first 40 minutes, you get some good information about, like, Palladians and that meat.
Yeah, but you've got, like, if the end's false, you've got to wonder if the lead up to it's got any truth to it either, or if they're just trying to tell a story.
I think they were just trying to fill the hour.
Yeah, again,
and they were playing to the room, as you'd say.
Yeah. They were just they were feeling it out. They were podcasting. That's what they were doing.
Yeah, before podcasting was a thing.
They were filling time, time, and ruining heads of young teens and people who smoke too much cannabis and people who probably should just touch grass and get out and talk to some people, perhaps a professional. Let's get away from the screen, please. Get away from the screen. But yes. I think part of it, some of it is it's rich white people looking at a population of America and being like, we had this country going really good for a couple of 100 years, you know. We had everything. We could own the black people. We had the natives. We had those killed. We gave them syphilis-infused, smallpox-infused blankets. We got that sorted.
We had them penned off for a time.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a time in one of the a zoo, where they had Filipino children?
Mate.
As like an exhibit.
You want to talk... we used to have human zoos.
Did we?
Which is fucking... It's a very, very... I mean, it's one of the darkest images I've seen where, like, in this country, where you sort of get... You understand the fucking... I don't want to say you understand the severity of the situation because you read about anything to do with the slave trade and you read about anything to do with colonialism and you understand the severity of the situation. But to see literally a wooden fence with just black people, a family of black people just sat being humans but not being able to be humans because they're fucking prisoners and being treated as an exhibit while British families are stood around. And, like, you've got mums, like, gesturing to the kids, like, hey, look at this, and, like, literally treating other humans as an exhibit. In what's meant to be a civilized country, especially even at the time. It's fucking dark. It's one of those things that I can't get a humour out of this. Because
freak shows seem
this
to be
just
pretty
did nice,
good,
but that's what it is. That's what they were considered. It was fucking. It was.
I know,
but
some of the stuff,
show.
some of the people in freak shows were interesting. Probably not to speak to because they don't go out, but like to look at and to see interact with general normal items, it would be fascinating. How does this guy, with 3 arms and no fingers, how does he turn the light on in his room?
Yeah, I mean, he probably doesn't have a room. Let's be honest. He probably has a cage that he lives in on the back of a truck or a horse and cart that's pulled from exhibit to exhibit.
But at least he can't run a mug along the side of it though and make an annoying noise.
No, but the snubble would do enough.
No, because he'd bruise eventually and then he'd stop.
No, you get numb at that part. So like after a while, that's when he gets really annoying. Is when he kills all the nerves off, and then you just bash it. Absolutely, just play drums on the bars. Just absolutely smash it. But yeah, it's really fucking, really dark. Human Zoo's fucking dark time. To see those images over here, fucking minging. But I believe that rich white people want the white population of America back up. They see, because it's happening over here, it's happening in America, like, birth rates are declining, and religious folks are like, nah, how can we stop this? Let's make sure they have to have the child. Now, the problem is at the same time, like, that also means the people that they apparently hate, which is any other ethnicity, are also going to not be able to abort the child. And it's poorer areas.
Yeah, the people that they think are breeding more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if what you're saying is right, though, why don't they just have in schools, have rooms assigned for kids to shagging? Like for teenagers to shagging? If they wanted to boost the numbers
it's
like
toilets,
that, surely... Yeah, but surely they'd have signs up and they'd make it, the rules of the school, go in here if you want to get your end away and that, and...
Because
you've
if
got
they
little
had
holes
those rooms,
in the wall for the PE teachers to.
I was going to say, because if they had those rooms for the kids, then the teachers wouldn't be able to molest children, which is apparently a thing that teachers really
educational
like to do.
Funding is a big thing in America. Like struggling for the educational funding. So if they could have some live streams in there and fucking cameras set up and they could sell the footage on the black market to people. You know what sort of people, paedophiles. But they seem to have money from what we've learned. Plus, they'd be able to give good tips on the lighting and where to put the cameras.
I was about
to
say, not only do they appear to have money, but they're all in the film industry, so like the fucking production value would be insane. But this is the backwards thing, right? It's the sane people who commit those sort of acts that are behind the people that are banning abortion. Like, it's the same absolute horrific criminals and like people who vote for and people who are behind, like, I don't know. It's weird, man. Like, I try to understand. Are you pro or against abortion?
I reckon if people decide they don't want to have a baby, I think they should be allowed to kill it. It's their baby.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one time in your life,
I agree with stuff like patricide and that as well. And if you've got a dog and you don't want the dog anymore, you should be able to go and have that dog put down. You shouldn't have to go to a sanctuary and pay 50 quid. You should be able to do like what our parents probably did, or at least our grandparents. I know my grandparents did it, and maybe my dad. I think it was my granddad actually. When you have a cat that has kittens that you don't want and you put it in a pillowcase and chuck it in the canal or the River Mersey, it would have been.
Lovely.
It's your cat.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather not. You should probably...
If you don't want the child, then why should you be punished for something that you supposedly own?
I also think that...
But then you've got the whole conspiracy thing of, you don't own yourself, you don't own your child because you sign a birth certificate, which is supposed to be a license where you sign your own body away and sell it off to the government. So maybe if you had a child in secret, you've not signed the birth certificate, it's got no name and no fixed abode and no details, then maybe it's probably okay in the eyes of the law to kill your own child. But no, I'd honestly, without taking the piss, I do think that if you've even up to like a week before, why does it matter? Your circumstances could change, man. If you're a day before you're going to give birth, not that, like, I mean, if you know that, then you're probably a weirdo anyway. If you're like, tomorrow I'm going to give birth tomorrow, it doesn't seem to work that way. But if you know that and you're like, I'm going to give birth tomorrow, I'm going to eat myself a nice spicy curry and do whatever else I can do to induce labour, maybe, shove this morphine driver into my spine so I go numb so I can just drop a child out because it's
sounds
my
amazing,
child.
that.
I don't know how it works.
Sounds amazing.
I've never given birth, so I'm not sure how it works. But I think that if you think the day beforehand, I'm not with my partner anymore, I don't have a home to live in, I'm living in the back of my car, probably best I don't have this kid. I think you should be able to go to the hospital and say, I know this is bad. You might think, but it's going to be born tomorrow. You got a lovely new baby, but I can't look after it. or I just clearly don't want it. I'm not going to look after it. Can we get rid?
Also,
And they
I'm
should
about
say
to shit
yes. It
myself
shouldn't come.
because of last night's curry. So we
I've
need to
had
get it
5
done quickly.
vindaloos, I'm sweating.
We really need to get this done pronto, because otherwise, if this arsehole splits, like, fuck me, it's going to be like the floods. Yeah,
But
I
it
mean,
should be
it's the
allowed
only
to, it shouldn't
time.
come down to the doctors because the people. Sorry to cut you off. A lot of when you read some of it, like I was reading about like animal abortions as well, because I thought we could lighten the tone a little bit with some animal
Marvellous,
abortion
fantastic.
Because that's
I'll
not
be honest, when you were trying to
I
like,
think I can make some of that.
when you were lightening the tone earlier by saying you should be allowed to chuck a bag of cats in a river in the Mersey, probably lost a few viewers there. I mean,
fair.
I know they're your cats, but you probably take, if you want to get rid of them, you'd probably just take them to like an adoption centre.
People
or the
didn't used to do that though.
RSPCA.
They didn't used to have the adoption centres. You just drowned them in the river, didn't you?
I'm on
You
about
shoved them in
now.
a pillowcase. Now they charge you, mate. My
Not
mum
if you
tried
just
to get
leave
rid
them
of
on
2
door.
dogs properly this time. She got rid of 2 of the dogs she had, and she took them there, and she got charged 50 quid a dog to fucking hand them into a dog's home.
Yeah,
in the
rightfully-
past, she's just
rightfully
took them
so.
to a police station and say she found this dog tied up to a fence outside her house. It's been there for ages. One of my dogs I had as a kid. I came home and that's one of the things she'd done.
Why?
Because it wasn't a very nice dog. It was a Jack Russell and it was bullying the bigger dog. The bigger dog was a cross between a German Shepherd and a Rottweiler, and soft as shit. But the Jack Russell would peel the skin off the back of the dog's leg with its teeth.
That's not very nice.
No,
That's
no.
not
So
very
she
nice
took
at
it to
all.
the police station saying that someone tied it up to the garden fence and she doesn't want it. She doesn't know whose it is. Because you didn't have to get dogs chipped back then either when we were kids, did you? So
No, you didn't at all. Also,
yeah.
fuck that Jack Russell. Never been a
Yeah, it
fan
was
of
a
Jack
horrible
Russell's.
dog. No,
Fuck
me
that
neither.
Jack Russell. Yeah, I hope it's in dog prison.
Oh yeah.
I hope the police just chucked
I hope
it in
they've
a cell.
kept it alive.
Yeah, I hope
on,
they just.
on an IV drip and they kick it every day.
I hope they just checked it into a cell and didn't give it its phone call. It wasn't given a solicitor. Its court date just keeps getting pushed back. It's not been given bail.
That German Shepherd cross had a rough time of its life, you know. Because but when people broke into my house, we think they kicked it about a bit because it wouldn't go upstairs anymore. And then it disappeared from my garden. Someone kicked in the fence panels in my garden. Dog was gone. And then I heard a few weeks later that a gang, one of the local groups who was considering themselves a gang at the time, as a little initiation ritual, they used to kick dogs to death. So I'm pretty sure that's where my dog went.
Oh, that's. But then, I don't want to sort of contest that, but like that's a very common fucking urban myth as well. That like
know.
people go out like I don't.
No, dogs were going missing. We had a neighbour 4 doors down that was purposely poisoning cats.
Yeah, you've brought this menace up before.
Yeah, it wasn't a nice area, mate. That's why I think it's why I probably think it's okay to do what I do with dead animals, I guess, and that. And I've had animal death in my life a lot, but to talk about dark things with such a total disregard to anything else, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
mine comes from that, but not. I've never animal abuse. Never been one of them, even in a shit area.
I've never partook in it.
Well, that's
not for me.
I'm glad you clarified. I didn't think so, but it's nice to get it out in the open.
Well,
for
you
the
know, if
public.
everyone else is doing it, a lot of kids would be like, "Go on then."
Go on then.
I wasn't like that. Like I didn't start smoking cigs till I was a lot older, anyway. So
I've shot birds, but I mean, yeah, that's probably is to a degree animal abuse. But like that was in a
Yeah,
that was
a bit.
it was in a
Not
it
weird.
was in a semi-legal setting.
it was in a shopping centre. They were in the way.
Yeah, it was in Asda. They were frozen. I was just went up to the
Paintball
chickens.
gun in the freezer.
Just went up to the chickens with a fucking air pistol and just started pulling out the blam blam. Just bat 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 bat.
Just got a bag of frozen peas out the other freezer.
That's what you're getting for fuck with me. Next time I'll come back for the family. And then just held the gun to a box of chicken nuggets. Next time it's the kids.
Next time it's the little ones.
Bailed. Where does Stalin appear in the abortion debate? In fact, before we get to that,
Different topic of
before we
body
get to that,
Go on.
I think abortion's the only time where it's actually legal to kill someone, unless you're in a country where euthanasia is allowed. And I don't think you can take that once in a lifetime experience away from people. I'll never get to commit murder legally. It's not allowed. We don't live in a country. I can't.
Imagine just having kids just so you can abort them.
Can't euthanize me, Dad. What a weird serial killer. That's a way to be. We
Well,
fucking
that's-
cracked it. We fucking cracked it. That's a way to be a serial killer legally, and this is why I uphold. I like true crime.
And it's a nice way for
Shut
women to
up.
break the glass ceiling, mate.
Oh yeah. It is. They can level the playing field.
They can be the biggest.
They can level the playing field. Harold
Always been a
Shipman.
men's sport.
Harold. Ooh, this chair's fucked. The screws are coming out the bottom. One of the screws come out the bottom, so it just flies back. But Harold Shipman killed what, over 200 women? 200 people. Like, one lass getting booked enough times could just smash those figures out the water. Absolutely
Potentially every 30 weeks, every 25, 30 weeks or
and
so.
like we've said before, we're all about high scores on this show. We love a high score. And I don't think you can remove that fun from people's lives. I want someone to be able to go, claimed another body today. And there's nothing you can do, see?
Some notches on a bedpost, and then the same amount of notches on the bed frame underneath. The occasional double.
Oh.
How much do you reckon it costs to abort a sheep?
Free, surely. Just reach in.
No. Apparently it's 85 quid to make a sheep have an abortion.
Right, why are we
What
doing that?
vets
Is that to fucking keep
That's a thing for
milk
farmers,
production?
I think it's for farmers, so that if they've got one that's a bit gammy, they can be like, the sheep will die if it carries on with the pregnancy, with the term, the gestation.
Right.
I had to look up as well how many weeks it is for a person to have a baby. 40 weeks per baby, mate. I know it's 9 months, innit, but 40 weeks seems a lot longer, innit?
40 weeks seems like a year, take away 3 months. Yeah, it's mental, innit?
Yeah. But
It's like 52 take away 12, which is the average of like.
I know, but it just feels
weeks
longer. It just feels longer. Why? I don't
because the
understand,
number's bigger.
right?
Because do it in days, mate. Guess how long it'll seem. Fucking hell.
263 days. There's
Fucking hell.
what I don't understand, right, is why, and this is I genuinely don't understand why some of the argument for abortion is, well, at that point it's a person.
At no point is it a person.
I don't understand that. No.
At no point is it a person. It's not a
At
person.
most, it's a growth because it's still connected to the mother.
Exactly. It's not a person until it's functioning on its by itself.
Until it's 5 years old and it can walk to school on its own.
Yeah, it's not a person.
Yeah.
And because of that, I mean, that's why I still that's why I mean,
Speed up round school districts.
yes, because they shouldn't be. I mean, to be honest, humans. Those are crossings for humans. They're not crossings for underdeveloped beings.
And you're
blobs.
supposed to run over a dog, so you're supposed to run over an under 5-year-old.
Yeah, on your driving test, they do say that. You know, don't stop for that cat.
Yeah. Do you imagine if that rule came about because of the guy that kept pulling up and seeing cats, and he's like, I could get that cat pregnant and make it have an abortion, and he's getting out and picking them up and putting them in his car. How many cats do you reckon you can get aborted? Right? Do you reckon you can get more different cats aborted by the same vet, or do you reckon you can get the same cat aborted more times by the same vet before the vet says no?
Before the vet goes, hey, yeah.
This is fucking weird. You were in here last week with a tabby.
You've got a sick fantasy, you lad. I don't want to know what goes on in your. A bit like the Robert Bordella of cats. You just keeping them at home and getting them to enact whatever you want upon it, injecting bleach into its eyes, fucking, and then just taking it to the vet and going, remove its child. I wish to do it again.
And I was wondering why it's such a big laugh. There's the way he gestured with it. He was so camp, but it just fitted perfectly. Just flicked his hand into the air. Remove the child.
Be gone with it. Be gone with it. Get it away from here so I can resume my pleasure with this feline beast. I don't. Cats should. So wait there. Should cats have power over their own bodies?
I don't think any animal should have power over its own bodies. Especially a cat. You can't trust a cat, man. They just want to kill everything, innit?
Yeah, but I feel that we're both very supportive of people having autonomy over themselves. But as soon
Personally,
as
personally, I think it would be very bad for business and for my brand as a taxidermist to be saying animals deserve body autonomy, because that not many of them are gonna say I would love that to happen to me, and the ones that do I want to work with them?
true, but you're only working with them post life.
Exactly.
So until the point of death, they've got body autonomy.
Oh, and then afterwards it's gone.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I agree. You should have control over yourself, right? Until the point of death. Again, this is
Until
why
the point of death.
No, like in the same way that I don't think anyone should have power over themselves until the point of birth. So basically, you don't become a human until you're born. You're not a human after you die. So in that sense, like it's very much like a fucking embryo. You don't have choice of where you are. So fuck getting buried. You're getting cremated, or you're getting your body donated to science. That would be in my benevolent dictatorship. Those are the options. Depending on what we need at the time. Do we need ash to coat the fields? Right, you're getting burnt. Do we need to solve the next health crisis? Right,
Is it
you're getting
bonfire night
donated
and we
to
need
science.
something that'll burn nicely and it's cheaper than petrol?
Yes, yeah.
And you're like, well, my nan passed at the weekend. Bring her out.
The thing is, what we do is we send the males, the men, they become effigies for Guy Fawkes, and I don't know if you've heard that the Conservatives have tried to get they're getting a Margaret Thatcher Day. So the women, we burn an effigy of Margaret Thatcher, but instead of like Guy Fawkes, where we sort of celebrate him for almost getting there or whatever, it's supposed to be a warning against anyone who fucking like tries to attempt what he did. But I feel some people sort of burn him to go, well, he tried. Whereas Margaret Thatcher...
Honestly, I thought that's always been what that is. I thought that was someone gave it a go good on him.
No, it's meant to be a warning.
Is it?
It's meant to be a warning against
thing in my
anyone
head
who...
that because of with COVID and that, and they cancelled all the bonfire displays, I thought because the Conservatives have been in power for so long, that they've started to do that so that we wouldn't have bonfire night for a few years to try and get rid of the tradition.
We had bonfire night
people
last year.
Realizing
we just didn't have it in like 2020.
Events. Oh.
We had it in 2021 because I went to the one in Harrogate. It was all right, actually. It's pretty good.
Fair.
But come on, with the Margaret Thatcher Day, we don't set it alight. We just get an old dead woman. We dress her up as Margaret Thatcher, and then we just all piss on her. We all congregate like we would at a bonfire. Same thing. We all congregate round the effigy and the thing but instead of a big bonfire.
It's just a big puddle of piss. We just do it on tarmac. On little plastic boxes that we can burn afterwards.
No. Instead of a bonfire which goes upwards, you can't piss up. We dig a massive hole, like a conical hole, so it's a cone with her at the bottom, and then everyone stands round the outside of the big pit, round the piss pit, and then what we all do is piss down, and then all of our piss trickles down onto Margaret Thatcher.
But you've got to be inclusive, so it's going to be difficult for a woman to do that. So if we all if we can devise
She wheeze.
Because then we're trying to make money out of these people, and that seems very Tory of us. What we should do is develop a reusable sieve that we can, or a massive gauze that we can put over the top. And then people we can all piss more.
That sounds like you say you don't want to make profit out of it, but then you're also going to be selling this sieve. So what you're saying here?
We bring out the piss sieve.
Don't use the Shiwi because the Shiwi's already invented. Use my brand new patented piss gauze that I'm going to market, which I like. I like that because you're like we can make a profit, but other companies can't. It's got to be us. That's good. I like your thinking. It's very Tory though, but that's body autonomy should not. You're not human until the point of birth, and you're not a human after the point of death. So you shouldn't have rights over what happens to your body. That should be burnt or go to science to go to the benefit of the world. You shouldn't just take up space. You shouldn't just take up space. Like I don't get. Who thinks they're that important? I don't get this thing with people who think they're all that important that they deserve a plot of land in a church or in a field. Like, you're not that important. What made you earn that plot of land in that fucking field? Like, you did fuck all. You've done nothing. Be good. Or even be crushed to a diamond. Something like that. Be something where you don't take up a lot of space.
Be something where we can make more money out of you.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Imagine if that's what happened, though. That's where diamonds come from. They're like, look, we can't force...
You can make people into diamonds when they die.
We can't have blood diamonds anymore. But we can still use the branding.
That exists. You can have yourself
Yeah,
turned
yeah,
into a
but they
diamond
get
when you
rid
die.
of actual like Sierra Leone camps and that, and
Yeah,
get
it's
rid of all
great.
of that.
That's a great way to do it. And if diamond mining companies were clever, if they were, which they're not, fuck them, they're not clever at all.
They could kill all the miners one a week.
No, what they
Well,
could
got this
do,
massive diamond, you know.
they could not only overnight could they end all of the brutal mining practices and all of the child exploitation and the exploitation of third world countries and their resources, and they could just leave those countries alone. They could become eco-friendly overnight, and then no one would feel guilty about fucking owning a diamond, because diamonds would just be dead people. You'd be like, don't feel guilty about this. Not only is this not come from the earth, and fucking 10 orphans haven't had to die just for this tiny, less than a centimetre cubed diamond that sits in your ring, but like this has actually been made from, I don't know, you could, I suppose you
From
expect
10 orphans.
no no the expense that your diamond would be more expensive.
Well, it could
given
be a
who
thing you pass down in the family,
no
and the chain gets bigger and bigger.
no the diamond would be more expensive depending on who it was made out of. So if it was just a lowly everyday person, or like a granny had passed away of natural causes or something, they'd be like, yeah, that's a cheap diamond, whatever, it's not cubic zirconia, it's a diamond,
They
but it's not the
purposely
best.
make it cloudy.
Yeah, but this is fucking Bill Gates. This is Bill Gates dead. That diamond's worth loads. Or if it was a cult one, that's Charlie Manson. That's Charlie Manson's diamond. People would spend millions on that. It's
We're calling him
eco-friendly.
Charlie because we're familiar. It's not Charles. We knew him as Charlie.
He's a
He'll
friend of the
always
show.
be Charlie to us.
He's a friend of the show. He was one of the people. He was there when we had the idea for truth seeking. It was one of
It
those.
was partly his idea. He was carving another swastika into a part of his body which can't be mentioned because he
Yeah,
doesn't want people to know about it. And he was like, "Do you know what you boys should do? You should leave here. Leave this Neverland ranch.
Leave his ranch. Yeah.
And you know, we can't really, don't tell them about it either till we're quite far into the series and people have bring me up when they've forgotten about me.
Yeah. And if you ever see the Beatles, slap him.
Yeah, he's there like going, I don't want to be a producer of this. This isn't for me. I don't want to be involved in this.
I'm all about the crazy woo-woo stories and then getting people to murder minor celebrities there. I'm not about, this is out there for me. This is out there. I'm not too sure this is going to fly.
Just to ruin the flow of the show, can we pause it while I go for a piss? Because I've been sat here for like 2 hours and I've drank 2 cups of coffee and half a pint of Coke.
Go.
Nice one.
Hang on a minute. Oh, right on. I mean, it's still running.
It's still running. This is in the recording.
I'm gonna fucking chop it out. Obviously, I can hit select and backspace, and that is the extent of my editing skills. That's why this is given out for free. Although I do even less for the Patreon content, where I haven't even chopped anything out, and that is at a cost. But that's what you pay for here. This is a backwards economy.
And if you're listening to this and you think to yourself, you know what, I love being first to things, go and join the Patreon.
Yeah.
You'll be the first to join.
And if you're the first person to join, Jack will send you the pictures that he keeps trying to send me, and I refuse to open them. I'm not sure. It's like that subreddit. Of the 50-50 subreddit.
Well, should I open it? Should I not?
Yeah, I'm never sure, and I haven't to this day. I mean, it's just the blurred image, the blurred outline below sort of gives it away.
I found a TikTok that I really like that you won't like as well. You know, it's just this guy that makes really pixelated videos, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's just noise. But you can kind of make out what's going on in the background as you watch it. But it makes me laugh every time I watch it, and I don't know why.
I follow this Irish bloke who just.
This should be clipped for the Patreon.
Mate,
too much going on.
There's too much editing involved here. What the fuck are you talking about?
Let's try and keep it to the show. What we do, and I go off for a piss, and it ruins everything.
Yeah. Back to what you wanted to mention.
Well, I wanted to bring in transhumanism,
right?
Because it brings in body autonomy in a way,
right?
Because should everybody have a chip implanted into them and that? And then I thought, where does transhumanism come from? Is it a new thing, as people have been watching things like Terminator in the 80s or whatever and 90s, and they've seen this, and then they're like, oh, could this happen? But it's long before that, mate. Early 1900s. A guy called Isamov or something like that, Russian bloke,
Isamov, yeah.
working for Stalin.
Yep.
Fucking scooping the cum out of monkeys and apes and shoving it up these like 5 or 6 women from Georgia.
Yeah, I mean that sounds very fucking primitive Russian.
And the whole point of it, right? And abortion people won't like it either, which is weird because he's trying to help make people give birth. I mean, he's making people give birth to abominations of nature, but he's trying to make them give birth.
Actually get fucking.
From what I've found on it, it seemed they never really said yes or no, but it implied that something was made within them, but I don't think any of them made it to full term. And I don't think it did the women much good either.
Hang on,
probably
from
like
what
that
I
woman
understand,
that fucked the horse.
Are you on about Isaac Asimov? Because wasn't he just a writer of transhumanism?
No, he wasn't called Isaac.
Because that's the Asimov I know.
Isla Ivanov.
Ah, right, okay, that's a completely different.
He was a scientist who wanted to kill religion. He wanted to categorically make religion redundant, which a lot of Soviets did back then.
What was his surname?
Ivanov. I've got it written down here. Ivanov.
Yeah. Okay.
And he wanted to make something that was called human Z's. People referred to them as.
Human Z's?
Yeah, human Z's.
All right, that's it. Well, okay. I tell you what, he could stick to the science because his ability to create.
Yeah, his branding's not there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not 100%. It feels a little bit like if JML were to bring out a fucking part human, part yeah.
the new JML primate.
The human ease, yes. It mops your floor. It'll clean your kitchen. It'll also drive you to school.
It'll fuck your wife better than you, but only the once. It'll kill your wife quicker than you.
I can't find fucking anything on this, Mush.
What do you mean?
On Mr.
If you go on Google, right? Go on Google and write in Russian man making human Z's.
Wow.
Right, wow. Russian man making man monkeys, and he basically what he wanted to do was he would collect apes, go around.
Ivanovich.
Is that how you say it?
Ivanovich. No, it's not. It's Ivanovich.
Is it?
No, it's not. It's Isla Ivanovich.
Maybe there's been a few of them.
No,
it's
not. It's not. It's Isla Ivanovich Ivanov. That's his full name.
Okay.
All right. That's right. I've got you.
He'd collect apes, right, and he'd collect like 700 at a time, and then transport them to his lab, which eventually ended up being in Georgia, not Georgia in America. That would make no sense.
No,
that would make it more of a CIA thing.
Yeah,
but the European Georgia, he'd take them there, and then get women who would apparently volunteer.
No.
To have to be artificially inseminated with ape semen. But out of the 700 apes, only about 5 or 6 would make the journey. So I don't think he was very good at transporting monkeys.
He doesn't sound like he was good at. Maybe it's an issue
Logistics wasn't his thing.
No,
wanking off apes, he must have been good at, but not the getting. Ironically, he couldn't get him there.
Nah. It might have been a case of like when we were studying. Was it fucking Darwin, possibly, who was studying turtles when he was building up like his fucking when he was building his writings, and like
he kept eating them.
Yeah, we kept trying to bring them back, but turtles were that delicious that they'd never make it back to like British soil. And we killed out we decimated a population of turtles because they were that fucking delicious. It's supposed to be like the butteriest meat you've ever eaten in your life.
Addictive as well.
What,
they must be eating something under the water, some form of plant that puts a toxin in them that makes them addictive. If that's the case, because if you've not got the self-control to be like, look, we need at least a handful of these to make it there. Put them in that barrel there. But then none of the turtles ever made it.
Yeah, but
they're saying a barrel of turtles didn't come. But then when they did that with the apes, they're like, look, these orangutans are fucking lovely. But stick a few of the small ones in that barrel over there. And that's where we got the phrase from, a barrel of monkeys.
Also, they're bigger and they're monkeys harder to to catch and eat So even when you've got them in the cage, they're bitey, they're scratchy. Turtle, not going to offer much resistance. You can practically cook it while it's alive because it's not going anywhere.
I bet you could with an ape, though, as well, if you just knocked it out and you just shove it in a pan.
Yeah, but if you knocked it out, but you've got to knock it out first, and like apes can dodge, duck.
Well, what if they made the cages so that you can flip a switch on the side and the top of the big sheet of metal at the top of the cage just drops down on them, bonks them on the head. You can set the level to where the heads are.
We're getting away from the point, which is I think that
this is just hurting animals again.
This is just you going into just abuse. You just go back to abuse, which is fucking. It's going to be This will be one day used as evidence in the court of law. But I think monkeys are just.
I go to for humour as well.
Monkeys are just maybe they're just delicious, and that's why. Like we talk, that people eat bushmeat. That's a big thing. That's a big thing in fucking in Africa. It's not a great thing. But I watched a Vice documentary on the transmission of fucking disease through bushmeat, and like the ability for disease to jump from that to humans.
Well, I can imagine as well if you're eating apes, that's going to be like eating humans, and it's going to do that weird thing in your brain. That's one of the reasons why being a cannibal is bad. Like other than like the ethical reasons,
you get deficiencies in that as well.
Yeah, it fucks with your brain chemistry massively.
I don't think monkeys. I don't know if it's close enough. I don't think that's because.
Well, that's one of the reasons he wanted. That's why he wanted to do it. That's why he wanted to prove that this could happen. There was a rumor that Stalin wanted this super race, like what Hitler were after, but he wanted it to be a working force and a military force rather than thinking to himself, we need to keep what they consider to be objectively the best, like what Hitler wanted was the Aryans. Stalin didn't want that. Stalin wanted a brilliant worker race.
Yeah, of course
instead.
Those were different.
Apparently, that's not true. That's not true. Apparently, that was a lie made up to make Stalin seem, for some reason, a lie someone made up to make Stalin seem like a bad guy.
I don't know why anyone would ever want to do that. There's so much.
I don't get why you'd have to make.
I was going to say there's so much. There's so much truth. But that's he's probably proud of that. He's probably like, yeah, no, I'm really that's the good points. Those don't relate us to the monkey stuff. I did loads of murdering.
I'm not evil.
I've massacred millions. I've massacred. Yeah. Don't give us. I don't need those fake credits. I'm out here killing people in their droves. I will absolutely ruin entire countries just so I get the crop I want. I don't think that's neat, but I think there was rumours of this occurring in China as well around the same time, which would make sense because it's Soviet connections and communist connections, and they all just wanted to dominate. And what China did instead was just go, fuck it, we'll just
invent dinosaurs.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, that was clearly the point that was going to come out of my mouth. I was going to say worked on having the greatest population on the planet, which is, again, feeding back to our start, what America's trying to do now. I think America's looked at China and looked at their birth rate and looked at how powerful China is and all the money China's got now and all the power it has in the world, and America's like, right, we need to work on that. What don't China have? Access to the healthcare, access to all this shit, access to abortions, right? We'll cut those off. We'll get the population up, get them all in prison, where it's all fucking work for profit, where the profit they get big company, they get big. Because this is one thing, this is one idea that I wanted to mention earlier as well. I think part of this, if you want to really put your tinfoil hat on, is who's going to be affected by the lack of abortions most? Poor areas. Where are more crimes likely to be committed? Poor areas. So where are more criminals likely to be committed and prisoners likely to come from? Poor areas. So you up the population, increase birth rates in America, where the industry, you can't afford to pay people much. Everyone wants to pay people nothing. Where can you pay people nothing but work for a profit? Where's most stuff in America manufactured? Prisons. More than anything else, it's manufactured in prisons for profit. And
there's some states in America that used to have. It was when I read about him, it was something like 24 abortion clinics, and they were making out that's a lot for a state, which doesn't seem like a lot for a city, really, or for a couple cities to share, but for the whole state, acting like that was a lot. But now it's got 3, and to get them, you've got to go through multiple doctors, and I imagine that costs a lot of money.
I imagine a lot of doctors say no because they were part of a lot of the people who voted for it in the first place because of their political standing or their religious standing, which is something I never get, is doctors that have that still vote on religious basis. That's fucking... That's
because they're playing God, keeping people alive.
And not just that, but they've seen everything. They've seen the actual benefit that these treatments and these processes have, and practices have, and yet there's something in their brain that goes, nah, but God said no, so that doesn't. I'll never understand that. But I think part of it is, as well as maybe up in white population, is up in prison population, and basically having a prison economy and having all your population, having a larger one, having your birth rate going up, waiting until they've done 2 or 3 things wrong, 3 strikes and you're out, straight to prison, life sentence, and you're just producing everything from America for the rest of your life.
Well, what if that's why they're doing it, though? So that, what if it's China that's causing it? Chinese money's influencing these decisions, so that, because China's been the industrial powerhouse of the world for maybe nearly 60, 70 years, maybe longer.
That's why I don't think it's China doing it.
Now it's becoming a big power in the world, though, now.
Yeah,
rather than being everybody else's donkey, doing the donkey work for everyone. They're now becoming a big voice. So now America's maybe becoming quieter and quieter in the world of politics and things like that. Because, still shouting, but no one's listening, kind of thing. And now the Chinese are like, well, everyone's listening to us because everybody speaks Chinese now. And the Americans are like, well, maybe we need to keep ourselves relevant and important. So what if we can keep making this? And by what you're saying there would be the best way to keep making all the stuff while subtly bringing that in to make a prison population, wouldn't it?
I don't even think you need to go that far. I think they've just taken a leaf out of the book and gone, oh, look what they've done really well. Look what they've done. Look how they've smashed it. What they've done is treated their people like shit. Completely segregated some parts of their population, like Uyghur Muslims. So let's take a leaf out of their book. Let's segregate certain groups of people. Let's get as many of them in prison as possible in the labour camps. We'll just not call them labour camps. We'll just say they've committed crimes and send them to prison. Which, funnily enough, is what their enemies, the Russians, did for years. America just do it in a corporate sense, so it looks professional. They do it in suits, so it's fine. It's done. It looks like it's part of the freedom.
I bet the Russians had a suit on underneath those thick coats.
Oh yeah, but it was mainly military uniforms. Like, America don't do that. America make it look like, this was done. This was justice enacted here. This wasn't us snatching a child from a disadvantaged situation and putting them in a work camp. That wasn't that whatsoever. We merely prosecuted a criminal. This 12-year-old person who's his 3rd time getting caught stealing. He stole a Mars bar this time. So now we're going to give him a life sentence. And now he's making pillowcases for the rest of his life. That's justice. It's weird how they do exactly the same thing, but just frame it as freedom instead of framing it as oppression.
Yeah, no, that is strange. I think you're onto something, no? Whereas, to bring in a different point, I touched on it earlier a little bit, but do you think there's anything, because it's not a conspiracy, I tried to think about this from the eyes of a conspiracy theorist, but one of my sorts, rather than your sort, the more paranoid, delusional people.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So, the alien abduction side of things, and if there is, let's take it for granted and accept alien abductions happen in America, because a lot of people say they do. Let's just accept that, just to be able to have the thought experiment.
For the purpose of this.
Yeah, just agree with me for once on that.
All right.
And then.
No, I'm not disagreeing. It's possible it could have happened. I just don't believe most of the people who say it's happened to them.
Okay. Well, let's say it has, right? Let's say it's been happening at a higher rate than it's ever happened before, and that's affecting the genetics of the human population. And it's not about race or colour or anything like that when they're talking about this in the news or whatever, or these people are discussing this, but it's being framed in that way as to not scare the general population, because that's something that they can understand and get their head around. Whereas when they're saying that, we need to keep the genetics pure or whatever like that, it's not about eugenics in a way of, like, this human is less than that human. It's this person here is half fucking praying mantis alien, a mantid, and human, because they were injected with with what we believe to be the semen of this reptilian race that they've been harvesting from other planets, and that was done to them by the Greys. But everyone, when they hear that on the news, they're like, what the fuck is going on? The world's gone mental.
Yep.
So what if that's what's going on, and there's actually less and less humans existing in the world, and they're being replaced by these people that aren't people, because they're half grey, half reptilian, half draconoid, half mantid, half fishman, whatever else you can, half Tuscumbian space penguin. You know, I mean, that'd probably be more easy to notice because of the webbed feet and that. But that's probably where they bring in the inbred people and they're like, you shouldn't have inbred people, and that's a way to make them feel bad. Because then, you know, are they the Loveland Frogmen of Ohio's love children, or are they inbred children because they've got webbed hands and toes?
All very good points. All very good points. All a distinct possibility. Would explain some of the people that I've met in life, or even looked at.
From the point of abortion, though. Would that be why they're like, we can't? Was it because earlier on I made the point of saying they were doing it so that these experiments were being done by the government, and they wanted to see if they're working.
I get it. Again, possible, but even I think that though, if there are other there are other beings, but I think they're probably sound nicer than us, and if they're more advanced than us, I don't think they need to be that sick. And even they would realise, even they would be like, yeah, right, we need our bloodline to continue here because we've worked hard to infiltrate this. We've assimilated to the culture and lifestyle. Yes, now and again on camera, I blink sideways and some people catch it, but most people don't. So for the most part, we've fucking infiltrated the highest levels of the government and power here, and it's going good, and we do need to continue the bloodline. But these humans, there's far too many of them. We can't have these popping out burns left, right and centre. We need to continue our bloodline, but we can reach out to them somewhat. We'll send them a pamphlet or something. We'll send them a little card in post. They'll get a special letter that no one else gets. Maybe like it goes to our spam folder, but it goes to their inbox, like because they're on the special CC list. And
like an extra image appears on the TV that they can see through the extra fucking cones in their eyes.
Yeah, just something that we can't. A video loads for them that doesn't load for us. It just constantly buffers for us.
Targeted market.
It plays perfect. You want to talk about targeted ad? I'm fucking so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad you brought it up.
I'm worried what mine's going to be because I have Googled so many times over the past few days, how can I get my cat an abortion? To try and find out different things about cat abortions. So the adverts I'm going to get over the next week are going to be odd.
What I keep getting on YouTube is an advert for aggregate and concrete constantly, and it wasn't even me who brought this point. Jamie brought up this point brilliantly. Like, people who are after concrete, like, they don't need adverts, they're just going to get it. Like, no one's sat at home and then a concrete advert comes up and goes, yeah, I haven't got little Andrew a bag of concrete in ages. He'd love that. I'll get him one for Easter. I'll get him a bag of concrete.
Or even you've got like the blinds companies that are like, you know, curtains get dirty. Get some blinds. Instead, you can dust them. You don't have to wash them in a machine, you know, Velux blinds. But you don't have that with the concrete companies aren't going. You know, you've got tarmac.
Yeah.
You know, that gets hot when your feet touch it and it retains the heat. How about you just get concrete and you get something that your kids can paint on with chalk?
You know, your house has already been built and everything, and your garden's done and everything. Why don't you just pour some more on?
Yeah,
concrete.
Do what the Japanese did.
Why don't you build up? Like, it's totally unnecessary. The other ones I get, there's a
aggregate's a weird one though.
There's a Canva one coming up at the moment. That's annoying.
Yeah,
that's
I get that a lot at the minute.
Yeah, that's a company that's like, here, let's make a profit from activism. Yeah, but it's like, it basically comes across the message: you could be the person that makes the next change with one banner.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Mine are all for social media marketing, for how I could use Canva in order to promote my products and stuff like that.
Oh, this one's like,
they got like a multiple pronged approach going for the pincer mover.
Well,
they'll get everybody.
They're clever. The cement people,
maybe we should pay them to market stuff for us.
The cement people, not so clever. Clever. They're just like, we'll chuck this out there. This lad is watching videos
about gravel.
This lad's been watching 1997 to 1998 Premier League goals. He's been watching old kickboxing matches, and he's been watching videos on conspiracies surrounding abortion. What he'd really like is a few bags of fucking dry mix. He's gonna love that. He's gonna fucking, what he'll do, honestly, maybe they think I'm building a bunker.
Maybe, yeah.
I've
It's
not
just like he's
just
getting
that's
his,
just
he's
clicked.
really gotten into his conspiracy theories recently. So
That's just clicked.
yeah,
I'm going to be
maybe
getting like
we'll find out if next week you're getting adverts for sand.
all those, is it anti-RFD or RFD detectors or whatever it is.
What, the stuff that blocks out phones?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what that
yeah,
is?
yeah. The stuff to detect like fucking like minor radiation coming from devices and
Oh,
shit.
like Geiger counters and that.
Um, to wrap this up, you should be able to kill bairns.
Yeah, if it's yours.
Yeah, because it's not a
I
bairn
think.
yet. It's not a
Well, I
bairn yet.
think if you should be able to say, I don't want to have this baby. I don't think somebody else should be able to say, I don't want them to have this baby, because then if you piss off your neighbour, they're not going to be like trying to slip a bit of fucking,
Yeah, where does it
bleach
stop?
into a bit of trout or something to try and kill your cat. They're going to be like, I'm going to report them and I'm going to sign them up for an abortion.
You
That's
just
never
sign.
going to happen.
You just that you like your mortal your enemy could just sign like start a fucking change.org petition to
To make
here
them get an abortion.
stop them having a child.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be able to not have that kid, and then you're roped into that for the rest of your
But
life.
why is that not allowed though? Why is that, if because at the minute if you look at it in the way it is in America, if you're not allowed to get an abortion, then how come there isn't the other side of it where people are saying you shouldn't be able to have a child? Because if they're only controlling one part, surely they're also controlling it all to some degree.
Yeah, well, I mean I think that's the way. And again, in my benevolent dictatorship, that's the way the world would work. You're not allowed to have a child until you apply for a license, like anything else, like a gun, like a
But
car.
everyone can. I'd make it so that you could go fishing without a license.
Oh yeah, there's some
'Cause
stuff
that's
I would
well
remove.
irritating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
silly.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd remove licenses from some things, but I would apply licenses to birth 100%. There are so many people should not have children.
I'd also get rid of the Dangerous Animals Act as well, so anybody can own an ostrich.
Yeah,
Because I think if you want to own an ostrich, go for it, mate.
fair play. If you
Do it
think
if
you
that's
can,
your dream. Why should you settle for a rhea?
no, you shouldn't. What's the a
Oh.
shoe bill? That's what you really want to go for. If you think you've got the bollocks, you get a shoe bill. You get that bird that when it chatters its teeth, its beak, it sounds like a machine gun.
Well, again, you can get yourself a pretty fucking dangerous hawk from some people in car boots in the northwest.
In the northeast,
that-
we've got loads of
Can you?
fucking
We have
you've
people
got-
that sell them at car boots, innit? Like the back of the vans and that.
Yeah,
But
you get bird
you can
trading
buy
around
that.
here.
That's fine. You can own that dangerous hawk that you can train. You can't train an ostrich,
No,
but you can't own it.
no. I think anyone, if you've got, again, that could be licensed because I reckon it would have to work almost like the fight game. They'd have to take your height and weight into account. They'd have to take your training into account. You'd have to go like, look, yeah, I do a workout, I do a bit of cardio, I do weights 3 times a
No
week.
matter how much you do cardio, you're not catching a renegade ostrich.
I practice jiu-jitsu, and they'd be like, right, in that case, we know you can handle yourself in a situation. You can have up to a brown bear. 'Cause you've trained, you're a black belt, so we know if push comes to shove, you can pull guard, you can maybe go for the choke, take the bear's back.
And you can keep people away from the brown bear who might want to use the brown bear for their own personal gain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and like if you apply and you maybe like
Couch
£115 wet
potato,
through,
yeah.
or £115 wet through, don't do anything. They're like, look, you can have dangerous, but in another way. Rattlesnake.
Yeah, do you want some scorpions?
Yeah, rattlesnake. Like that's
That
yours.
already happens though. People with like a skinnier physique than me, they're normally the people that have fucking dangerous snakes and insects, isn't it?
It does tend to be a certain. It tends to be.
They have hair and a beard like mine though.
Yeah.
I look like someone that would do weird shit with animals.
You
don't I?
look. You look like someone that would like. If I couldn't see your front room now, I would expect it to have no light in it and a vivarium on every wall
That would
and
be, I
a
would
fence
like that.
and a smell of reptile piss.
I'd go for insects, me. Less electric bill.
Yeah, but I would. That's exactly what I would picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people who usually own like reptiles and snake and spiders, arachnids and scorpions and shit, they have a distinct The sort of people who would lurk around in the goth and bong shop when you
but
were
not
younger.
buy anything. Yeah, trying to talk to you, acting like they're cool because they think, oh, when I used to be that age and I'd come in here, I'd look up to the guy that stood in the corner and stared at me buying stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like him. I'm going to actually talk to these kids that are buying bongs.
He wears like a biker's sort of vest with he's sewed his own offspring patch on it.
But can't even ride a push bike.
No, doesn't skate or anything, or by BMX or anything.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that's very pale complexion. Loves Linkin Park.
Still,
fucking cries over.
Considers their newest album. It just came out last week. They're like, oh, have you heard the new stuff though?
Yeah, I think we've thoroughly described snake owners. With regards to abortion, a child is not a child until it's breathing of its own right, and then also a person's not a person before it's born, and a person's not a person after they're dead. You've got no control over either side. Stop burying people, turn them into diamond. Who would you want a diamond of? 2 questions before we go. First one, who would you want your diamond made of?
Keith Chegwin.
Brilliant shout. I
like him. He's my Andy Peters.
Is he?
Yeah. I might do a bad drawing of him, and we'll have a shirt on the shop that's got a weird picture of
both
a weird
of them.
drawing of
both
mine.
of them together.
Yeah, a weird picture. No, separately, so people have to buy more than one. And we'll have a picture of him. I'll draw Keith Chegwin if you want, and you can draw Andy Peters because that seems a bit more something you might get judged for, depending on how you draw him. And
I'll do him.
I'll write
brilliantly.
underneath. I'll write underneath the Cheggers one. He's my Andy Peters, and you write underneath the Andy Peters one. He's my Cheggers.
All right then.
And then we've got some new merch because the people on Patreon also. We should tell you this: if you join Patreon, that's patreon.com/truthseeking. I've put a little discount on there for my website.
Man.
Yeah, little discount on there for my website. Don't get too excited because it's only for the Cryptid Currency t-shirts. I'm not going to give you a discount on everything or anything like that. But yeah, but the truth-seeking stuff you can have a bit cheaper.
It's site-wide. Honestly, it's site-wide. If you put it in, just put in the discount code, any product on Jack's website.
Even the people on my Patreon don't get a discount.
If you buy 10 shirts, you actually get 50% off. The code won't say it. When you click on the purchase bit, the receipt will say an amount for the regular price of what 10 shirts would have been with no discount. But it's a proof of purchase one. You've got to send us the receipt afterwards, and then Jack will deposit that amount of lunar cryptocurrency into your account as soon as possible, and you'll be a trillionaire.
See, I was going to suggest that for every 10 t-shirts we sell, I'll get one of my cats an abortion.
Honestly, man, like the RSPCA are going to be on the blowout sooner than I'd like to.
It's all right.
Mention.
She's been spayed, so it would just be more of a novelty, really.
You just start like
she's not at any risk.
Just start getting a fat.
Pregnant.
Just start getting a fat.
Yeah, and just
telling people.
I want her to get an abortion. She's due soon. Can I get her an abortion? And they're like, "There's no children. There's no kittens in there." Oh, you work
I'll come
quick.
back next week. You didn't even do anything.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'll be telling everyone about you. This is brilliant. What a service.
Right, next week, probably something that...
lighter.
Yeah, even though, I mean, we did it. We did.
And we do want to finish off by saying if you want to get an abortion, we think you should. We don't think women should have the clits chopped off. We don't think anyone should be messing around with anyone else's body. No one should be killing anyone. No one should be repping anyone. No one should be aborting other people's children for them against their will. No one should be stopping people from aborting children. Nobody should be convincing people you should get an abortion. You know, just to keep everything clear. You know, but as well, if you take away anything from this, I would like to reiterate that if you did want to get an abortion, it would be £85. Couldn't find a price on cats and dogs, Jimmy.